Okay, so if you're on social media at all, you've seen the hype, right? AI agents are automating entire jobs overnight. But what are they really? And, more importantly, how can you actually turn them into your secret weapon to land your next client or that dream job? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut right through the noise and give you the practical playbook.
So let's tackle the biggest misconception head on. Is an AI agent just a fancier chatbot? The short answer? No, not even close. And honestly, understanding this difference is the key to unlocking a massive, massive boost in your productivity. Let's break it down. So this visual really shows the fundamental shift. A chatbot, that's a one-shot prompt. You ask, it answers. That's it. It's a dead end. But an AI agent, that uses an agentic workflow. It's a continuous loop. It thinks, it acts, it observes the result, and then it refines its approach. Think about it this way. Instead of just asking a chatbot to, say, write a cover letter, an agent would actually research the company, analyze the job description, draft the letter, and then critique and revise its own work to make it perfect. See? That's the difference between a simple tool and a real collaborator. All right, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the basics. What is an agent really? Then we'll dive into the 4 secret ingredients, the patterns that make them so powerful. We'll look at the different levels of agent intelligence, see how they can actually work together on a team, and then we'll finish up with a practical toolkit you can use to give your career a serious upgrade. This right here is the key takeaway. We are shifting from giving simple commands to assigning complex goals. You don't just tell an agent to find a company's website. No, you give it a mission. You say, research this company, summarize their last quarterly report, and draft a personalized outreach email to their head of marketing. It's about automating the entire workflow, not just one little step. And this is the engine that makes it all possible. It's called the React loop. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful cycle. First, the agent reasons. It thinks about the goal and it forms a plan. Next, it acts. It executes a step, like maybe performing a web search. Finally, it observes the result. Did that search give it what it needed? Based on that observation, it loops right back around to reason about the very next move. It's constant learning and adaptation, all happening in real time. So, how does that React loop translate into real power? Well, it relies on 4 core patterns. You can think of them as the fundamental plays in an agent's playbook. These are the building blocks that give agents those game-changing capabilities we've been talking about. First up is reflection. This is the agent's ability to actually critique its own work. So imagine you ask it to write some code for your freelance portfolio. A simple model just spits out the code, bugs and all. But an agent with reflection, it writes the code. Then it stops, it reviews it for errors, and it refines it before you ever even see it. This built-in quality control is a huge leap forward. Next up is tool use, and this is absolutely critical. An AI model by itself is kind of like a brain in a jar. It has no connection to the real live world. Tools are its hands and its eyes. Giving an agent access to a web search lets it find today's freelance market data. Giving it access to your calendar lets it schedule meetings. This is how agents stop just talking about the world and start actually acting within it. The third pattern is planning. So when you give an agent a complex goal, like help me prepare for this big job interview, it doesn't get overwhelmed. It acts like a project manager. It breaks that big goal down into a logical sequence of subtasks. Okay, first, research the company's latest news. Second, analyze the job description for keywords. Third, generate some likely interview questions. It builds a complete strategy from a single request. It's amazing. And the final pattern is multi-agent collaboration. And the logic here is pretty simple. Why would you rely on one jack-of-all-trades agent when you can assemble a whole dream team of specialists? You could have a research agent, a writing agent, and a proofreading agent all working together on a single client proposal. The combined result is just so much more powerful than what any single agent could produce on its own. Now, if you're trying to remember those 4 patterns, here's a great little mnemonic for you. Red turtles paint murals. Reflection, tool use, planning, and multi-agent collaboration. It's a little bit silly, I know, but hey, it sticks. Okay, so we have the 4 patterns that make agents work. But just like people, not all agents have the same capabilities. They actually exist on a whole spectrum of intelligence. So let's take a look at the 5 levels from something as simple as a thermostat all the way up to a strategic chess grandmaster.
This table really shows you the evolution of how smart these agents can be. Down at the bottom, you've got simple reflex agents, like a thermostat. They just react. A step up from that is model-based. Think of a robot vacuum that remembers your room's layout. Then we get to goal-based agents, and these are key for our purposes. This is an agent that can pursue a goal, like find 5 potential clients in the tech sector. Even smarter is a utility-based agent. It wouldn't just find 5 clients, it would analyze them to find the best 5 based on your criteria. And then right at the top, you have learning agents, which actually improve over time. That's the kind of agent you want helping you, getting smarter about your preferences with every single task. Now, let's circle back to that fourth pattern we mentioned, multi-agent collaboration. Because this is where the real magic starts to happen, especially when you're tackling the kind of complex projects that freelancers and job seekers handle all the time. So why would you use a team of agents? Well, for the exact same reasons you'd build a human team. You get way better results from specialists. You can tackle bigger, more complex workflows. You can have them work in parallel to get things done faster. And you avoid overwhelming a single agent with too much information, which helps maintain a really high-quality output. So the simplest collaboration pattern is sequential, just like an assembly line. An agent researching job postings finds a great fit, and then passes its findings to a second agent, whose only job is to tailor your resume for that specific role. Once that's done, it passes the tailored resume to a third agent that drafts a super compelling cover letter. Each step is handled by an expert. Now, a more powerful pattern is hierarchical. Think of it like a project manager agent overseeing a team. You give the manager the top-level goal, land 3 new freelance clients this month. It then breaks that down and delegates tasks to its specialist sub-agents, 1 to research leads, 1 to draft proposals, 1 to handle scheduling. The manager coordinates everything, collects the results, and makes sure the mission is accomplished. All right, that is enough theory. Let's make this real. How can you take these concepts and turn them into a practical toolkit that actually gives you an edge in your career, starting today? Okay, let's brainstorm some killer use cases. You can turn an agent into your personal research assistant, digging up deep insights on companies right before an interview. You could use one as a content creator, drafting personalized outreach emails that actually get a response. You could deploy an agent as a recruitment screener to analyze a job description and tell you exactly which keywords to put in your resume. Or just use one as a personal assistant to finally get your calendar and to-do list under control. The possibilities here are absolutely huge. And look, this isn't just about your personal workflow. This quote from Y Combinator, one of the top startup accelerators in the world, highlights the massive economic shift that is coming. Just think about any software you use today for your freelance business. Your accounting software, your project manager, your design tools. Soon, there will be an agent-based version of that tool that doesn't just wait for you to click buttons, but actively works as your partner to get the job done. So we'll leave you with this one final thought. The question is no longer if AI agents will change your work. That's a guarantee. The only question now is how you are going to leverage them. How will you integrate this new superpower into your workflow to become more effective, more successful, and ultimately more valuable? What will you build? Thanks for joining this explainer.